any SBP, and he had a, what is that? SAG.
Yeah. Here I can say, can we go for the previous slide?
2.3.
Yeah. So high SAG,
Low protein, high
low
SAG.
protein, high SAG. Yeah.
That means he has got portal hypertension, but he has got an elevated serum creatinine.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to know? Next.
Yeah.
Next.
I want urine examination.
Yeah,
Urine
go to the
protein.
urine examination. Urine sugar was nil, albumin was 3
3
plus,
plus.
RBS
24 urine protein is 3 gram around. This is a nephrotic
2.9
range.
grams, 2.9 grams, and urine PCR was 6.1. And his sugars were normal, 98. HbA1c was 5.9.
Yeah. So here my interpretation is he is having a nephrotic range proteinuria could be a part of cryoglobulin related to hepatitis C, or could be a part
It
of
could be,
chronic hepatitis,
he's hypertensive, so it could be hypertensive
chronic
and
hypertensive related. Yeah. So my second
one chronic
possibility.
kidney disease, or
Yeah.
he could have a hepatitis C related
Cryoglobulin.
kidney injury,
Kidney
isn't it?
injury.
So
So
what,
these are two things with your talking, right? Okay.
so what are the changes you get in HCV and the kidney?
So what are the renal injuries you can get at kidney?
Yeah. In kidney, if we'll biopsy the kidney, we will be able to find a membranoproliferative lesion, membranoproliferative
Yeah, you can
deposition
get
of the membrane.
proliferative glomerulonephritis type 1 or type
Glomerulonephritis.
2. Number 2.
Number two, you can see tram track appearance of deposition of the uh,
You can look at you can get interstitial nephritis.
interstitial nephritis,
You can get cryoglobulinic vasculitis, isn't it?
vasculitis.
These three things you can develop, and you can also develop glomerulosclerosis. All these things you can develop in hepatitis C. You can develop anything, and you may sometimes. Where do you think this hepatitis C would have had been deposited? We do a renal biopsy. Some endothelial deposits will be there. So you can get all these lesions. So this could either be, so you've got this, okay, these two things are, these four things are positive. Can we go to, what else you want now?
Yeah. I want to look for the
Serology.
ultrasound KUB.
HCV?
No, ultrasound, can we go to the next slide? Next slide.
What about the HCV
What
serology?
about the HCV thing?
Yeah, see viral load.
So we looked at this. So you wanted to look at the hepatitis C viral load. We want to look at the hepatitis B, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you have a nephrotic range of proteinuria, you always look for, if it's going to be membrane or something, we always look for a lipid profile. Lipid profile was normal, and TSH was normal. And look at the anti-HCV, which is positive. Of course, anti-HCV will be expected to be positive. And look at the viral load. 56,28,223 international units. And you saw that there is a low C3 and normal C4. Complement C3 is low and C4 is normal.
C4 is normal.
Okay.
So this
What does this suggest?
Yeah, this suggests immune complex related deposition, sir. In a glomerular means it suggests a membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis.
Our serum cryoglobulin is awaited. How do you check for serum cryoglobulin?
serum cryoglobulin should be taken in the ice sample.
You should take it and keep it in at 4 degrees centigrade. Anywhere between 24 hours to 7th day, it will precipitate if your serum cryoglobulin is positive. Now you can also quantify it. Just now, just before the class, I called up our blood bank, our biochemistry lab. They found that there is, after yesterday afternoon, we sent the serum cryoglobulin that has started now precipitating, and it will get confirmed on 7th day. So probably the cryoglobulin is positive in this patient. So probably what we have here is a probably untreated or partially treated hepatitis C, or this could be a reinfection. Okay.
Do you want a genotyping?
We have sent the genotyping, madam, because initially they said genotype was 3 and he was treated with Dacla and Sofosbuvir. So now it has gone on to this. So he is now probably what we are dealing with is an untreated or reinfection hepatitis C with a high viral load, and probably we are dealing with mixed tribula induced glomerulonephritis in this patient.
Do you want an EGFR alert in this patient?
Creatinine was 1.8, man.
Okay.
So I think generally around it was 50 or 47 ml, So we did not go ahead with a CT scan in this patient. Can we go the next slide? Fundus examination showed grade 1 hypertensive retinopathy. Next slide.
Yeah.
We did not do a CT because an ultrasound, a look.
Yeah, so ultrasound and fundus examination suggesting that this kidney injury is not a part of prolonged hypertension. This could be a part of maybe what we already know that
Kidney size was normal.
Yeah.
And he had a post-echo texture, surface nodularity. What is all suggest? Cause and surface nodular caudate lobe hypertrophy.
Yeah, it suggests chronic liver disease changes.
Cirrhosis.
Yeah.
Cirrhosis of liver, but most importantly, we looked at no SOL and portal vein thrombosis. And you will recollect that AFP was 2.1 in this patient. But ideally, we should do a CT to look for it, but we didn't do CT because the GFR was low, around 40 ml. And so he had a right hydronephrosis, and he was having a little bit of abdominal pain. Can we have the next slide?
Yeah.
Your comments on this?
So this is so this portal hypertension related esophageal varices.
Varices, mitochondria. What else you want? Ask me on anything else on the varices?
Is there any red color sign or?
No, correct. There is no red color sign. So we didn't go ahead with any prophylactic banding or anything of that sort. Okay. Next slide. Yeah. Now, because he had a right hydronephrosis and he was having a mild pain, we did a plain CT KUP. We didn't do a contrast.
Yeah.
It shows right hydronephrosis with distal ureteric cavity. We have not got the genotype as yet. But even if the genotype, somebody asked whether the genotype, we have not got the genotype as yet. Okay.
Genotype is important, no?
Genotype is very important. We have sent for the genotype, we have not got the genotype because somebody asked the genotype. Can he ask me, why did he ask for a genotype now? Hello, you want to take that question? Why did he ask for a genotyping now?
Yeah, so genotyping is important because it will help us about the deciding about the treatment. First, second.
No, one is he's already been treated. Now, why is the genotype important? With a high viral load.
Yeah, if previous genotype was different, now what genotype
could a reinfection be a different genotype?
Different genotype.
If you have a subspecies from the same genotype, was there a
reactivation.
Associated variant, isn't it? Was there a resistant associated variant? You need to know whether this patient had a resistance.
Yes.
And if at all there is a resistance, for which drug they would have developed resistance? For NS5B or NS5A?
5 ways, sir.
Correct. NS5B or usually
With
they don't develop resistance NS5A. So if it has been given soposbuvir and daclidosavir, probably you would have had a resistance to daclidosavir. That is why exactly we need to look for this variant. So basically now, so I think this is the end of the case. So he has got a HCV related cirrhosis of liver. He has got a portal hypertension with varices. He has got probably chronic kidney injury. He's got a nephrotic range of proteinuria with a possible cryoglobulinemia. Okay, possible cryoglobulinemia with a distal ureteric calculus. And he's got a very high viral load. Isn't it? So now, now he has come to you now, you have made the diagnosis.
Yes.
So tell me, outline your management principles in this case.
So, so we have to treat hepatitis C anyway, again with the pan-genotypic, because now the only drug which we have is valpetasavir, which supposedly we have to give combination of it. Because kidney injury, now recommendation is not to reduce the dose. We have to continue with the same full dose.
So you can
100
continue
mg
with the same dose of soposbuvir. You can give
and
you a
valpetasavir.
valpetasavir. Would you like to add ribavirin for him?
No, not sir.
Cirrhotic, is cirrhotic. Do you have the
Cirrhotic.
option to bring ribavirin?
Yeah, sir, we have, but as of now, no recommendation to give ribavirin.
In a cirrhotic, if you want to give ribavirin, how much you would like to give?
Sir, I am not in favor to give ribavirin to him.
In case there is cirrhotic and you want to give ribavirin, how much of ribavirin you give?
Yeah, okay. So less than 1000 milligrams.
600 milligrams. No, don't say less than, like more than 1000. 600 milligrams is what is recommended for ribavirin. So you can give pan-genotype.
Okay.
So what are the options of then? How will you manage his? Now he's got a distal ureteric calculus on the right side. He's already got a kidney injury.
So issues in management are number one, hypertension. You have to take charge of that.
Yes, sir.
HCV.
Chronic HCV. Then how do you do how do you manage what will be your nutritional management and what will be your management of ascites?
Yeah, so we have to give a high protein, low salt diet. We cannot add diuretic at present.
Kilocalories you give.
Yeah,
per
so we have
kg.
to. We should give 20 kilocalorie per kg per day at least.
35.
20 to 25.
35 kilocalories per kg per day. How much of protein?
1.5 gram per kg per day protein at least.
Salt?
Salt less than 4 gram.
Here, what will be the problem of giving more protein?
Kidney patient, no?
Kidney patient, yeah. Kidney patient, they will.
He's already got a protein.
Uremic.
If you give more protein, what will happen?
We always restrict proteins, no? Kidney disease.
Yeah,
What
but
will happen if you give more protein to the patient with a proteinuria?
Protein.
the proteinuria will worsen. Sir.
Proteinuria, whenever you give more protein in a patient who's got a proteinuria, there will be hyperfiltration with the glomerulus. The more you get hyperfiltration glomerulus, you will develop glomerulosclerosis. So you're going to that's one thing. So you probably may have to restrict the protein a bit. Then management of ascites.
Yeah, for ascites, because already kidney injury is there, we have to give more of loop diuretics, less of.
What will you give? What is the prescription? Give you a prescription.
Yeah, toracamide and spironolactone we have to give, or we have to give combination of furosemide and spironolactone. But we have to give more of loop diuretics, more of furosemide and
Careful so that your real this thing.
paracetamol. Yeah.
Now,
And we have to monitor potassium regularly, and we have to adjust accordingly.
what about beta blockers for this patient?
Beta blockers are generally not recommended at present because he's having only grade 2 esophageal varices, and already he's having a kidney injury, so I will follow with the
No, here beta blockers you have not only grade 2, not that. Grade 2 we give, but here patient has got a elevated creatinine and has got a
Creatinine.
moderate.
Aside
So beta blocker may worsen his renal function, isn't it?
yeah.
So we don't give beta blockers on this, right? Then what will be a plan for managing the renal disease?
So yeah,
How will we confirm his renal disease?
we have to biopsy the liver
Renal
for kidney,
biopsy.
renal biopsy.
So how do you man? What are the options, treatment options for his renal disease?
So already we are giving, if it is related to cryoglobulinemia, which is related to HCV. So already we are giving antiviral, but because he's having
What will be the
nephrotic
percentage of people will respond only to antiviral in mixed cryometry, and what will be the percentage will require further treatment?
this percentage I don't know, but if we'll definitely require
20% may not respond only to
antiviral.
antiviral.
So we have to give a
Why
high
are
dose
we
steroid
bothered that if it does not respond, why are we bothered? Cryoglobulinemia.
because it will lead to end-stage renal disease, sir.
Now, one is end stage. Number two, can it cause extra renal manifestations, cryoglobulinemia?
Yeah, skin manifestation and
Skin, most two fatal are cerebral and cardiac. So you can get what is called as acute cryoglobulinemia crisis, where patients can develop cerebral strokes as well as myocarditis and they can die. So that is exactly why you need to treat. So what are the other options of treating this renal disease apart from your antivirals?
yeah, so we have to give steroids, a high dose steroid, 1 milligram per
You have to give steroids or cyclophosphamide.
cyclophosphamide.
What other drug you can give?
Mycophenolate mofetil also we can give.
Rituximab. Rituximab. So I am telling this patient requires rituximab. What are you concerned when you give rituximab in this patient?
Yeah,
And what will
so
you check? And what will you do?
for rituximab, when we are planning to give rituximab to anybody, we have
HBV.
HBV, SCV,
Rituximab is notorious to reactivate
Activate hepatitis B.
Hep B.
hepatitis B. So how will you look for that?
We have to do a HBV DNA.
You should look for anti-HBC total. HBsAg and anti-HBC total. Anti-HBC total is positive, then you do HBV DNA viral. Okay. Now I want to give rituximab. He is HBsAg negative. He is DNA negative. I want to give rituximab in 2 weeks' time because his renal function is worsening. So how will you? I want to quickly vaccinate him. Is there any other regimen for fast tracking a vaccination of hepatitis B apart from 016?
Yes, sir. The regimen is there, but this I don't know the
So
course.
please read the ASLD guidance. How do you fast track? You can give 0, 7, 21, 28 and fast track it and give it after 6 months. So you can fast track hepatitis B vaccine in these patients. So you should do this in this patient. So what do we do with the renal calculi? Should I leave it alone or should I drain that?
Yeah, sir. We have to look for the size of calculi. If it is more than,
Stuff that has not come down. 7 into 5 millimeters.
I think 7 to 5 millimeter calculi
May
can
come
come down
out.
after some time. Yeah.
But in the presence of a renal failure, are you worried? Maybe our urologist feels that we should go in, remove it, or at least put a stent to decompress.
Stent, yeah, we can put a
Because we already got a low GFR, so this may worsen the GFR.
Yeah, we can put a scan.
Senses also.
So this will be in broad the management principles of this patient. So
LV,
you treat as Hep C with pan-genotypic, and then how do you monitor him? So what do you expect when you treat with a pan-genotypic? What are the expectations you have in this patient?
LVK, can you just
Yeah.
summarize the management of cryoglobulinemia?
Cryoglobulinemia, we can, as he said, most of them will respond to the pan-genotypic combination when you treat for hepatitis C, number one. But 25 to 30% may not respond, and the renal failure may worsen. And the other drugs which can use is you can use steroids, you can use cyclophosphamide, or you use rituximab. Why the worry is if you allow the cryoglobulinemia, they can go for a fulminant mixed cryoglobulinemia, causing the cardiac and a cerebral stroke mortality. This is one thing.
Yes.
And the other thing is, so this is one thing we need to know. But when rituximab, please look for hepatitis B, and you should always do this. And this patient, we are planning to stent him, and once after the stent everything comes down, we plan to do a renal biopsy and see what it is. But he will be started on a pan-genotypic combination as of now. So what are the expectations we can have on him in a decompensated? Once his viral load comes down, his ascites may improve,
Yeah.
his weight may improve, his MELD score may improve unless the MELD is at what level of MELD they will not respond to DAA. At what level of MELD you will be careful. About 20. Above 20, sofosbuvir can always worsen hepatitis. So these are things which you should expect. And how will you monitor his viral load?
So we have to do a HCV RNA after 1 month, and then
After
after
4
3
weeks
months,
and
4 weeks, and then after 12 weeks,
end of the treatment, 12 weeks.
and then after another 12 weeks.
End of 12 weeks and then at 24 weeks. So you look at SVR, okay?
Yes.
Look at SVR at 12 weeks and 24 weeks.
Yeah.
So 6 months after stopping the treatment, you will look for it. Now is the present recommendations.
What will be the recovery of the renal parameters, chances in this patient?
Yeah. So as sir said already, 25 to 30% chance that they will recover with the antiviral only. If not, then we have to add. If we are planning to add immunosuppressant, there are a very high chance that he will recover with the proteinuria and subsequently with the renal EGFR also.
But the hypertension will also come down. That's what
Hmm.
we wish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think there would be I think a kidney biopsy is a must. There may be an underlying CKD component in this patient.
If this patient, supposing you have information that this patient had a resistance to NS5A, okay?
Yeah.
What is the present? It's not available. But what is the best combination available for this patient?
If it is
You will give
resistant,
sofosbuvir. You will give velpatasvir. Anything else you can add on now, which will be available in few months in India.
To renal patients.
Voxilaprevir. Voxilaprevir is another drug which will be available, and you can add on to these patients. Okay, now. So for all the students, kindly go through the complete EASL guidance to hepatitis C in 2020. Okay, it's already come. I think we should go through, and we've also given how thing. Quickly, before we wind up, quickly tell me all the extrahepatic manifestations of hepatitis C.
Yeah. So extrahepatic manifestations are porphyric renal tarda, lichen planus.
No, first tell, most common is type 2 diabetes mellitus. Okay? Dyslipidemia, coronary artery disease. Then comes your renal manifestations. Then you can get porphyric renal tarda, lichen planus. You can get Sika syndrome.
Yeah. That's
Okay. All these are extra. But then most important is lymphoproliferative disorders. So you can get a low-grade lymphoma or a high-grade lymphoma. If you have a low-grade lymphoma, you treat with ritomycin. If you get a high-grade lymphoma, you treat with the present with CHOP therapy. So lymphotropism is very, very classical with this thing. So you should understand what are the CD25 cells which are activated by hepatitis C. Okay. So kindly go through the EASL guidance for hepatitis C updated regimens in 2020. We no longer talk about ledipasvir. We talk about soft plus velpatasvir, soft plus velpatasvir plus voxeloprevir. We talk about glycopyrrolate and pyrrolizumab. Those things are which can be. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we just take a few questions? Is DAA induced renal failure a possibility in this patient? The first.
DAA will not produce this thing unless patient is a very high melter. Supposedly can worsen a liver disease and they can develop renal failure because of that. But DAA does not cause renal failure.
Then genotype 3.
Previously, as Alok said, he said they should not use too much of sofosbuvir when the GFR is less than 40. But I think now it has been discounted. We can use the same 400 milligrams even in renal disease.
Yeah, we can use till end stage renal disease.
No reduction in the dose.
No difference.
The other question is genotype 3 earlier. If it is still genotype 3 resistance, is testing required?
Genotype 3 again is you look for a resistance. I think that it is again genotype 3. There can be two things. One, you would have developed a resistance to NS5A and would have not achieved an SVR. Or then if you have a resistance, then you have to add voxeloprevir. If it is, if we don't have voxeloprevir, I would have just added ribavirin to increase the enhancement. The third thing is, if it is not a resistance, it will be a reinfection with some subspecies of the same genotype, which can come well after SVR. Well after SVR, if you have some high risk behavior, that's also a positive.
Should we go for banding in this patient in beta block?
There are no red whale signs. I don't think we really push for banding in this patient because there are no red whale signs in this patient.
Some ACE inhibitors.
We did not give ACE inhibitors are generally not indicated when you have a 1.8 creatinine GFR is low. The best thing is, I think we treat, this is a cryogenic vasculitis. I think we treat the vasculitis, the proteinuria will tend to come. But I think you remember, madam, we had a patient with NCPIH for a long time. He had developed severe proteinuria. And I told you during our discussion, he underwent a transplant. 3 months of the transplant, the proteinuria is completely gone. Yesterday he came for us, no ascites, no proteinuria, no edema. So I think that's what happens. But if you treat hepatitis C with a cryogenic, today I just got the thing from the blood bank that this patient's blood has started showing at 4 degrees centigrade a protein agglutination. So it may be cryogenic. They will confirm it after 7 days. By 3rd day, we will quantify what is cryoglobin levels in this patient.
Then question is, can diuretics furosemide and spironolactone be given with creatinine of 1.8?
Yeah.
You can give it very, very carefully. Otherwise, if it is in grade 2, but if the BP has been low, he's got a vasodilatation, we could have used midodrine. But this patient is also hypertensive, so we added very, very carefully some diuretic.
How did you manage hypertension? How did you manage his hypertension? You added any medication or only?
We just gave, I think, amlodipine. Just give amlodipine.
And 24 weeks. I think without ribavirin, we give for 24 weeks. No, cirrhotic patients. I think that's the.
What, madam?
Without ribavirin, we give for 24 weeks.
24 weeks.
Yeah, without ribavirin, it's 24 weeks. With ribavirin, again, but you don't exceed 600 milligrams of ribavirin. The problem with ribavirin in this patient is already anemic, and you know that ribavirin can cause hemolytic anemia in these patients.
And for follow-up for HCC in this patient, would you consider MRI or
ultrasound is what has been recommended. If the patient has already had a HCC and has been treated complicated, then you recommend MRI or CT. But if the patient has no HCC, I think you just go ahead with ultrasound every 6 months and alpha fetoprotein and look for any lesion. But after even always remember, if cirrhotic patients, even after SVR, you do not does not preclude development of HCC, and you need to put them on a surveillance in these patients. There are 3 or 4 indices which has been recommended, the PAG index and the TRIS index. So kindly go through what are the. And remember, in hepatitis C, after your treatment, patients can develop NAFLD or NASH. So tell them not to put on weight, too much of weight, and always monitor LDL, because this can go up after SVR or due to hepatitis C.
And renal biopsy in this particular patient indicated?
We have not done yet, ma'am. We are planning to do a renal biopsy. We first thought we'll drain the ureteric stone, and then we'll do a renal biopsy on him, just for a documentation.
Yeah, documentation, because the retinal changes are also there. So whether
Is it only an NPGN or is it triglobulinemia?
Triglobulinemia. In which case, then he gets listed for both. He may need a renal as well as. I was just thinking of the transplant. Alok, when will you consider transplant in this patient? Last question.
If he does not, let us see 3 months. If he does not really, he does not really improve and he still continues to decompensate, then we'll put. 30% of patients who are decompensated with HCV after treatment can get delisted. 30%. A fantastic study from France from Jean Potowski. And recently in one HC, I think Zoism was telling this paper where patients. And always remember, even in hepatitis C cirrhotic after SVR, 70% can, 30 to 35 to 40% can still have a progressive portal hypertension, and they can decompensate after that. Not everybody's portal hypertension comes down in these patients. But unless study has been purely an academic study by Gasha Di Becon in his hemodynamic lab, and he says, and Fonia, what's his name? Xavier Fons. They only said that 40% of the portal hypertension will still not come down. So there's every chance that they will still progress to decompensation despite us achieving SVR. So that means if a decompensated cirrhotic comes with them, we need to tell them that still they may get to do a transplant if you are SVRS, if you have achieved SVR also. We had one patient, very well built, very well compensated patient, was a bank manager, SVR in 2015 with regulated interferon, ribavirin, and that we had time only sofosbuvir. So I had some 20 patients at that point of time who had received regulated interferon, ribavirin plus sof plus 1 year. He has achieved SVR so long. 2020 January, he has a small HCC with a portal vein thrombosis. So we gave him TARE, now complete resolution of portal vein thrombosis, and now there is no enhancing mass. So we gave him, an option of a transplant beyond the Milan criteria, because we still do not have the criteria to say that portal vein thrombosis resolutes, can you do a transplant? But there is the Italian criteria where they say you have a 55% 5-year survival if you can do.
With TARE, portal vein thrombosis also resolved, is it?
It resolved with TARE.
Okay,
but unfortunately, what happened when we are working for a transplant, we saw that there is a pretracheal node, and he was showed tuberculosis. So, getting treated for tuberculosis. Once after 2 months of treatment, we will try and do a transplant. But we told them this is outside the box. We have thought out of the box, and maybe you'll have a 5-year survival of 55%. They have agreed, but because he's very well compensated. So this is what will happen in hepatitis C.
Thank you, LBK. Wonderful case. And Alok, you did a good job. Glad you got it.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, LBK. I think this one case, this is the best, we have one case discussion in detail. And next Thursday again we have, okay? The DM students, please take up the case discussions because DND students are going up for the exam, theory paper. So DM students just come forward, okay? Let me not keep asking again and again. So all of you just come forward for the presentation, okay? Thank you, Alok. Thank you. I have
Thank you,
requested
ma'am. Thank you, sir.
to include
Thank you, sir.
hepatology students here. I've sent a
Thank you,
message.
everyone.
Thank you, Alok. Thank you. Thanks, Enrique. Very nice case, Enrique. Nice
Thank
case.
you, madam.
The basic, I mean, one of those cases where you have all the complications.